scourge of moving human beings for profit while the cartels are getting paid thousands of dollars to put these little girls and little boys into the sex trafficking trade, to be put in stash houses in Houston, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, all along the border. And for me to offer an amendment that simply says we ought to raise those penalties and have every one of my Democratic colleagues in the House Judiciary Committee vote against that tells you everything you need to know about the seriousness and the lack of resolve that they have to actually deal with this issue squarely. They don't care about having open borders. They don't care about what that does to Americans. They don't care about what that does to migrants. They want to pat themselves on the back in the false name of compassion that they like brown people, when it is brown people in South Texas who are bearing the brunt of wide open borders. And you know what? There's a lot of brown people in South Texas that are being tired or taken for granted by a Democratic Party that likes to claim the mantle of, compassion while they allow people to die. Talk to the ranchers. Talk to the sheriff in Brooks County, where they've got a mobile morgue with 50 dead bodies of migrants sitting in it right now. Talking about the 107 dead bodies found last year in Brooks County. Talk to the people and the ranchers who find dead migrants on their ranches every single day. Talk to the people who run the human trafficking rings about what's happening to little children and how they're being abused for profit by cartels. And the Democratic Party is completely MIA, and they're not doing anything about it. And that vote was a telling vote on that point. But the fact of the matter is, Americans are dying. Americans are being put into the sex trafficking trade because of the power of cartels and the coordination with dangerous criminal elements in our country. 107,000 dead Americans from drug overdoses and poisonings, not overdoses, poisonings from fentanyl being pumped into our communities from China through cartels into our country. You damn right we're under invasion. Americans are dying, cartels are profiting, and we ought to do something about it. And I'm not just talking about Democrats. I'm talking about Republicans. It's not enough to say that you're, that's right. It is not enough to sit and complain about it and talk about it. We need to do something about it. Don't fund the DHS that is not securing our border. Don't pass an NDAA and say that America's defended when we haven't done crap to defend our border, when we're under assault every single day. And that's what we need to do.
Let me ask you a follow-up, because we talk a lot about leadership at the department. We talk a lot about having the will to make hard decisions. And so two things come to mind. I know you've been outspoken on probably both of these as well. We had an incident last year where a number of horseback agents were in the river. Some photos were taken of them doing their job. They were suspended on administrative leave for almost 10 months. Report came out, said they absolutely did nothing wrong. There was no whipping, there was nothing of that, and yet they are still punished. They are still censored. And so you have that along with a secretary who continues to say to this day, I think it was just yesterday, the border's secure, the border's under control, and we have operational control of the border. And so, and I know you Congressman, I know you visit the border a lot. What does that do if you're an agent and you hear that from your leadership who's not giving you the policies you need to do your job? What's the mentality, whether you're a horseback agent or just a line agent, and you hear those types of comments?
Well, I really appreciate that question. And look, as Secretary, you know the answer to the question. You set it up. But the Secretary under President Trump would, in never a million years, would have been going after our own Border Patrol agents for doing their job. And yet that's exactly what this secretary did. That is exactly what this president did. That is exactly what the White House press secretary did when they went out and accused these agents falsely of whipping human beings. And then to have the Homeland Secretary stand behind this ridiculous report saying that they're going to hold these guys accountable, but with zero evidence that they did anything wrong, destroying the morale of the Border Patrol, who are under assault every single day, overwhelmed. And then have them have the gall, the secretary to have the gall to come to the Judiciary Committee, in which I asked him the question and put the law up on a chart, is our border secure and do we have operational control of the border, which we are required under law to have? And he looked at me in a bald-faced lie, looked at me and just said, yes, we have operational control. And my predecessor would have said the same thing. Well, you know what? His predecessor often said, we are getting control of the border, we are working to control the border, and that actually was defensible. This secretary lied to the American people. He lied under oath. He should be impeached for his dereliction of duty. He should And we should remember that he has an oath to defend the laws of the United States and an oath to secure the border, and he's refusing to do it. And that is exactly what we saw on display with the agents. And I think one final point on that, it matters when these guys come before us and lie. And we should remember that when we have oversight next January, if Republicans are given the keys to the kingdom again, we should actually do something with it and hold them accountable. And Mayorkas is the first on the list, in my opinion, maybe right next to Dr. Fauci, but that's a different panel.
Well said, well said. Let me move to the Attorney General from Utah, because